And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Dr. Robert Shiepe, clinical pharmacist, astronomy photographer, and UFO witnesser and researcher who's been on the Discovery Channel with his work, and SETI has also been to his house to take a look at what he's up to. Robert, thanks for joining me and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. And thank you to all your viewers who are watching. I appreciate that. You're in for an amazing show about UFOs.
That's awesome. Well, how did you get into UFOs in the first place?
You know, I was 4 years old. I knew I would be a scientist. And at the age of 10, I just knew I'd be a pharmacist. But around 1975, I became really fascinated with UFOs. I just like, something is going on here. I can't put my finger on it, but something's going on. You know, you keep your ears open year after year after year, and you learn and you pick up information. Along the way, you talk to some amazing people. I've met some amazing people. I started the first mail order pharmacy business in the United States in 1986, so I was able to meet a lot of people. I was actually like the pharmacist to the stars here in Los Angeles. So I met just a lot of movie people, and you know, you learn more and more, and I came across a lot of information. And I may cut this kind of short, but in 2012, I retired after 25 years. And 5 years later, just kind of like everything went crazy here in Marina del Rey, Los Angeles, military-wise. And I was able to put, because of my heavy science background and my resources at the time, I was able to document and figure out why they were here and what was going on. And as it turns out, in the summer of 2017, the Coast Guard and the Navy Blackhawks came in. They invaded Marina del Rey. They hovered for 4 hours every day at 300 feet. They did that every day for 2 weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks, I said, this is ridiculous. Now I took out my camera, started videotaping, and sure enough, on the videotaping, you can see these small objects flying around our helicopters. And evidently, that's what they were doing. They were trying to chase or apprehend or get to the bottom of what was going on. So that was 7 years ago, 7.5. And the thing is, it's never stopped. So the government, the military has been here basically every day ever since. And there's been over 15,000 sorties since the summer of 2017. And we're talking about every single helicopter that you can imagine in the United States, every military, every private, for instance, Blackhawks, Apaches, Coast Guard, Lakotas, Sheriff, even the fire department and the Edison choppers are here looking. And you may wonder, like, whoa, what are those guys doing here? Well, as it turns out, the only way to see these small, fast UFOs are with IR, very sophisticated IR cameras, although your cell phone will work just fine. But they were bringing in their IR, so they asked anybody with sophisticated cameras to come in over Marina del Rey. And just being a scientist, I quickly put things together one in one. So there's some free radar on the internet. There's about 3 or 4 different apps. I use one called planefinder.net. I like that one. It's simple. It gives you a lot of information. Planefinder.net. And eventually, all I do is I watch Planefinder. When I see helicopters coming toward Marina del Rey, I go on my balcony, I turn on my camera. I'm using a Panasonic X1000 4K 60 frames on a tripod. And I've even attached 2 car radar detectors. You can just pick them up on eBay. And based on the theory that these small, fast UFOs may trigger the X or K band spectrum, I did it as an experiment, and my hunch is correct. So I have a lot of these videos where these things fly by. I have them on video, and then they triggered the X and K band. And 2 years ago, the Pentagon released a UAP UAP characteristics chart and gave it to Congress. And the chart says these UAPs do trigger X-band and they travel about 2,000 miles an hour, which is the same calculus that I have.
Do you think that these UFOs that are around Marina del Rey have anything to do with the UFOs that were spotted off the coast of California? The famous video ones of the Navy, from the Navy pilots?
Yeah, highly likely. So these UFOs are all these small UFOs. When I say small, 10-inch corona silhouette diameter in flight, approximately 10 inches, and 2,000 miles an hour. They do fly behind objects. They do trigger the X and K band, and they leave an audio clip on your video too.
You're saying that these UFOs are 10 inches?
In flight, they have a 10-inch corona silhouette. Yes.
Is that the same thing as saying that the size of the UFO is about like this big?
No, the actual size highly based on after 14,000 hours of research. We're looking at these. If they were stationary, we're looking at about 1 inch. But once they're launched, my theory is they're running on extreme high voltage and they create a magnetic field. And the magnetic field of corona is about 10 inches.
So they're actually this size, but they're creating a corona that's 10 inches.
Yeah, I know this is hard. In the beginning, it will be hard, but yes, that's correct. And like I said, just based on 14,000 hours of research, yeah. And I do have video to back that up too.
Okay. It would seem that even something this size, even though it's a corona, would be hard to capture on film because it's still pretty small.
If they're within 2,000 feet of the camera, of the focal length on the camera, they are recordable, yes. So if you have a zoom, sophisticated, I have, like I said, this Panasonic with a 20 optic zoom. So if I'm recording at, for instance, like I did yesterday, if I'm recording at 10 miles, that's 50,000 feet, but I zoom in with a 20 optic zoom, I can come within 2,000 feet of an object, I can still record them.
Well, then if it's only an inch in size, then it's got to be some sort of robot or something, I would think, right?
That's exactly my assumption, that it's a drone-like intel. And of course, people want to know, where are they from? Are they government? Are they off planet? My hunch is they're from the future. That's my hunch.
Interesting. Well, let's take a look at some of your footage.
Okay, very good. So what I do is, because of their speed, I can record generally between 10 and 40 frames, 20 on the average. So I'm recording, again, a Panasonic X1000 4K 60 frames, so 60 frames a second. So because of their speed, and generally speaking, I get 20 frames. So this is a third of a second. So what I did was, instead of just watching the video, I decided what would happen if you copied and paste each frame and put it on one screenshot. Then you could just see where it started, where it ended, and you can get a better understanding of what these objects are doing. And again, I will refer to them as dragons because 7 years ago when I first started, I was positive, like some of you are thinking right now, these are birds or bugs. I was certain that these were bugs, and I was certain that they were dragonflies. That's not the case. So these things essentially only fly when helicopters show up. It's the easiest way. And you could do this. This is just not Marina del Rey. Anyone could do this in the world. You see a helicopter, an airplane, take your cell phone out, hold it sideways, landscape, zoom in about 15, 20%, record for 30 seconds. Just like this looks right here. Look for a tiny dot. That tiny dot will be the UFO fast mover. Again, I call them dragons because I thought they were dragonflies. So again, I had a professional photographer copy and paste each one. I send them out, he sends it back, and this is the result. And right now, I'm the only person really on the planet that's doing interpolations. It's an interpretation of the video. So of course, I have them in real time. I have them at 12%, 3%. But to me, I can convey a lot of knowledge just by showing you this. So if I could show you a bunch of these, I can show you videos. I can show you videos of the X band and the K band being triggered. I can show you videos of these things flying behind objects. It just goes on and on. In fact,
What,
just 2 days ago,
from what I can see, you have the object flying across the screen, and then it looks like what's above it is a helicopter. Is that correct?
correct.
Are you saying that the object that you've interpolated here is a 1-inch object creating a 10-inch corona in this picture?
That is correct.
Because it looks much bigger compared to the helicopter. How did you come up with that measurement?
Well, because when you go through thousands of videos, you get lucky once in a while, and they fly behind an object of known size, like a person's leg or high voltage lines. And then once you, for instance, a car headlight or a car tire, so you use that as a reference. And in general, yeah, they're very small. They're very small, but recording them stationary is close to impossible.
Well, if they're that small compared to the size of the helicopter, to me that would mean that they would have to be pretty close to you compared to the distance of the helicopter.
That's correct. That's correct. All I'm doing is I'm recording the helicopter, knowing that these things are going to fly into the video. I call it a tag. You can call it a recon. You can call it surveillance, surveilling. I just call it a tag. They're gonna fly into the video. They're gonna do their data recon, and they're gonna keep flying. They do zigzag sometimes.
It sounds like to me what you're saying earlier was that every time there's a plane or a helicopter flying, there's going to be one of these ships flying by, tagging it.
90, 80, 90, 100%. Yeah.
So does that mean that they're just kind of watching all the air traffic on the planet?
Evidently, yes.
Hmm.
Yes. That's why people all over the world are doing this. I've taught them on my channel. And Jeff, they're sending me video every day. Every day I open up my Gmail and I got new video coming in from UK, from Texas, Australia. It keeps me busy. I don't even get to do my pharmacy stuff anymore. I do VIP consulting now. I'm retired. I do VIP consulting, and they pay me a lot of money, and I don't even do it. So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's important. I'm doing this, Jeff. I'm doing this for humanity, not for money. Or I did all that. I did that in the '90s. I was hanging out with Hollywood and all the time. I went to Whoopi Goldberg's wedding in 1992. This is so, for what it's worth. This is for humanity. I'm trying to pay it forward. I'm trying to encourage people. So I teach people to pull your phone out and record them yourself.
All right, let's take a look at another one of your photos.
Okay, this is actually the CHP flying over Marina Del Rey, and what they're doing, they're escorting the vice president who is on the ground driving around. So again, when you see helicopters, you just record them. There's 80 to 100% likelihood these things will fly by. I know it sounds too easy.
It appears to me that there is something on both sides of the object that kind of looks like wings. Do you know what those are?
Yes, they don't operate on gasoline or rubber bands. They operate on high voltage. So these are the most logical answer in science. And believe me, I have a lot of scientists who watch my videos and they agree with me. These are plasma jets. They're running on high voltage, and literally, and there's two wings. There's two plasma jets that they use for lift, and they use it for steering also. So you will see. Basically, I think this is going to be the new standard, Jeff. If you're looking at UFOs that are flying and you don't see plasma jets, you should be suspicious. The Tic Tac video, if you go back, look at it, you'll see there was a little plasma jets coming off of them.
What do you mean you should be suspicious? In what way?
If they're flying around and you don't see these little wings, these plasma jets like car exhausts, tiny lightning bolts, you should be a little suspicious that it might be CGI. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Because nothing runs for free. Is it anti-gravity? Yeah, but now there's a difference between hover and flight. So if they're hover, you may not see the plasma jets when they hover, but once they start to move, you can expect to see plasma jets. Yeah. So that's a fair question. And I have so essentially all my videos, they all have plasma jets. Again, that's why I thought they were dragonflies.
Okay.
But when you do research, there is no comparison. There is no comparison. They're remember, they're very predictable. I can turn on the camera and within 15 seconds record one of these things. Very predictable. And again, they trigger the X band, the K band, and they'll fly behind helicopters and they leave an audio click on the video.
Let's take a look at another one of your photos.
Here we go. Here's another one. What do we have here? It looks like we have the blimp, the Goodyear blimp. We have a bird right here on the left. And right here, we have an interpolation of the UAP fast mover, the Dragon, right there. Yeah, I think that's one of the blimps, maybe the Goodyear blimp. Anything that flies over 150 feet will be reconned by these UFOs. Let me shoot through a lot because I know your viewers want to see a lot. They want to see a lot of evidence. Everything's timestamped. There's the date. We have a lot of overcast being at the beach. Regular tourism flying by. You'll see these are consistent. And as time went by, as of a couple years ago, the interpolations, the quality gets better and better. This was in the beginning here, and the quality, you can kind of see the shadow around the dragons, but since then, the quality has gotten better, so you see no shadows now. ABC News chopper getting tagged here. All the news people know about this. In fact, briefly, ABC did a story right here in front of my house about the neighborhood. And when they were done, I waited and they actually even interviewed my wife. They wanted to interview me. I said, no, my wife's much prettier, interview her. So they did. They put her on live TV. And then when it was done, I said, hey, I think you should realize what's going on here. And I gave them pictures. I gave them this picture. I said, look, there's these fast moving UFOs in Marina Del Rey, and they're flying up to your helicopter, the ABC helicopter. So I've told a lot of people. I've told the intel community, the Air Force, SETI, the Discovery Channel. I've told a lot of people. I'm doing everything I can. That's why I'm speaking with you. Every once in a while, you'll see these things very random. And when you've seen them in the past, you just didn't know. You just made the assumption that they were bugs, or you didn't see them at all because they're extreme speed. Oh, this is a pretty good one right here. So look at this, 2019. So what we're looking at here on this day, January 11, the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard, remember, they were here first. They were here in the summer 2017. So the Coast Guard's 100% aware of what's going on. Well, on this day, January 2019, they brought in one of their boats, and they brought in a helicopter, and they hovered. See, those are the jetty rocks. They circled and they hovered around the jetty rocks for 3 hours. And it was pretty foggy too. I was a little concerned about the safety of the helicopter, but I recorded all this. I have all the real-time video. Basically, this is them calling it a day. I think they came in at 10 o'clock and they decided to call it quits at 1:30. And when they were leaving, this thing comes off the ground. They come off the ground at the same spot, a little bit to the right or on the far across the channel at the same location. But basically, it's the same object traveling at the same speed, very consistent. So everybody, all the government agencies, they know about this. They just, they don't want to lose their job, so they're not going to say nothing. And I respect that. I get that. But I have them all on videos. You name an aircraft, I have that aircraft getting tagged by one of these UFO dragons. So let me keep shooting through. What do we have here? We have 2 helicopters coming in, looking around, blue skies. And remember, I have these videos with 2 dragons interpolated. So let me just keep shooting through. This one right here. This is the Lakota. They're stationed out of Barstow. That's halfway between LA and Vegas. They come in, they look around. Every time they come in, they always get tagged. It's kind of like a fish in a barrel. It's not that hard. What do we have here? We have the Seahawk. Yeah, I remember this. Is this? Yep. Oh yeah. He came in, and I have the video. This is a good video. I posted this on my channel on Custodian File. They're they're flying with their doors open. The pilot doesn't have his door at all. It's just gone. And the back door, there's a gunner right there. He has his hands on a Gatling gun. They came in meaning business, and on the video, when they flew over the Jetty Rocks, I knew what was going to happen. I mean, it's 90% of the time you fly over the Jetty Rocks, these things are going to fly by your helicopter, and that's exactly what happened. But I think on that day they came in very serious. I mean, they were like, if we need to, well, we're loaded and ready to go. Really good video on that day. Got lucky here. Let me keep shooting through. This is technically like a non-ballistic because it's not linear. We got two helicopters looking around. When I give lectures at the Air Force Base, this is what they were really focused on. They were really like, show us your non-linear videos. They really wanted to see the zigzag videos or anything close to it. So I do have about 20 of those. They're kind of hard to come by, but I do have about 20 of them. These are two helicopters just searching the area. Let me zoom in again. The plasma jets here. Yeah, let me just keep going. Here's the fire department. Again, they asked the fire department to come in because of their sophisticated thermal cameras. I mean, those guys can see a toaster 3 miles away, so they can easily see the IR on these things, very easily. And again, the police, the fire department, and the sheriff, the pilots have quietly said these things are annoying. They've quietly said that. So I appreciate any confession. I appreciate on that. Right here is a very expensive Earth drone. When I say drone, I'm referring to an Earth drone, because sometimes people call these UFO dragons drones also, and I think that's appropriate. But somebody was brought in a Cinema Earth drone. These are like $19,000, $20,000 drones, and they were just cruising around. I think they were doing some LiDAR research, I'm pretty sure. But the point is, every time, if you fly an Earth drone right here over Marina Del Rey, these things will fly by. So I have 3 or 4 videos. This is one of my videos. This is how I made the interpolation. You have to have the video first. You record a bunch of video, you go through it, you see a dragon, you slow it down, you interpolate it. I kind of make it look easy. It's a lot of work involved. And let me just shoot through them. Here's 2 dragons right here. One's closer to the camera than the other. Why are they fuzzy? Again, we're never going to get a clear image. The theory being the electromagnetic field, the photons just don't ricochet off like they're supposed to, like they do off a helicopter. Most likely the photons are being absorbed because it's just a magnetic field. They're being absorbed. And all my stuff is open source. You can reach out. I'll share any video you want. I have 5,000 of these videos. It's not top secret. Some people would say they're top secret. Some people might say, well, they're demonic. I'm not sensing any of that. I think I'm a pretty good spiritual guy. I'm not sensing anything demonic going on here. Let me keep shooting through. Here's the LAPD. LAPD get tagged a lot because they're here the most. So I have a lot of LAPD video. Airline videos, really easy. I love this. So we have 2 runways to LAX. One comes in from the east, one comes in from the north. My balcony faces the north. So if you look on Plane Finder, you can see the airplanes coming in ahead of time. This is really kind of amazing. As soon as the airplanes are over the airspace on Culver City, California, Culver City is where Sony Pictures is. It's just 6 miles from my balcony. Culver City airspace is very active, very active. 3 years ago, China Airline was flying by. The pilot called the FAA, said, I just saw a UFO right here over the airspace. You can look that up. Happened at 1:47 p.m. about 3 years ago, China Airline. My point is, every time I turn on my camera and I wait for the airliner to fly over Culver City, these things fly by. In this case, there were two instead of one. Very predictable. Again, between 80 and 100% predictability. And again, these things, they do trigger the X and K band. They trigger that 8% and they leave an audio click 8% of the time. And that was confirmed by the Pentagon on 4/19/23. So let me just keep showing you videos. Here's the LAPD. The LAPD have two choppers, the silver blue and the black and white. They're trying to phase out the silver blue. In this case, this thing got really close. Possibly, I think this one is behind the chopper. It's very close. Again, very predictable. I can't stress how predictable it is. And you could redo this. Your viewers can do this. If you, when in the daytime, you see a helicopter, an airplane, hold your phone sideways, landscape. Don't zoom in too much, 20%. Record for 30 seconds. Don't give up on your first video. Go back, watch it, look for a dot. That will be the UFO dragon. That will be. Let me keep showing you. Again, any of your viewers can reach out. I'll give you all the interpolations, all the videos you want. I've been doing this since summer of 2017. Blue skies work best. When you have blue skies, make the effort to record more because they turn out better. Banners, they fly over the jetty rocks. This banners, you know, in the summertime, they advertise. This was unusual. This is January. I'm not sure why they're advertising, but nevertheless, when a banner comes in and they're advertising anything, they will get tagged. They will get tagged by one of these UAPs. They all, again, high percentage, 80, 90%. It's easy video. Over and over. I don't even read what the sign says anymore. It's just, there's too much activity going on. This is a double, or I should say twin dragons. That's the LAPD. When I did the show for the Discovery Channel, Fright Club, season 1, episode 2, and I was anonymous back then, 5 years ago. I was like, there's no playbook. I didn't know what should I tell people who I am or not. I didn't, but I just, since then, I just said, that's fine. Just tell them who you are. The LAPD, when I was talking to the producer, the LAPD flew in. So I just said, hey, they're flying in. Do you want me to record it right now while you're on the phone? He goes, yeah, why not? Give it a shot. And sure enough, we got the best dragon video. They were swarming the LAPD helicopters. And I gave it to the producer and he opened the show with the video. He was extremely impressed with it. That was a lucky video. That was really lucky. But again, it's over and over with predictability. Over and over. So you pick a day, you pick a time. Blue Angels, they love air shows. Blue Angels, Thunderbirds, Red Arrows, UK, Australia. They're all over the world. This is not just Los Angeles. They're all over the world. Here's a pretty good one. We got blue skies, and it is pretty close. Got that black and white LAPD. Relatively speaking, this is what they look like if your camera is good enough. And depending on your software, this is exactly what you can expect to see. You can exactly. Now, again, if you're new, you're saying, no, these are not birds. They got to be a bug. But again, with predictability, you just wait for a helicopter. They fly by, and again, they fly behind. They trigger the X and K band spectrum, and they leave a click. Very repeatable science. I get that. I'm a clinical pharmacist. I get that. You gotta have the science. I totally respect that. Non-ballistic. He came a little bit too close to my camera. Sometimes I think they fly interference, these dragons. They kind of don't like it if you get too close to my camera. I believe that's the Lakota again, twin dragons. Let me keep going. If you see one in particular you want me to stop, I could focus on that. This is tourism. Looks like, yeah, that's the police chopper. See, over and over again. Extremely. That's why I have 5,000 videos. Mm-hmm. When you know where something's going to be ahead of time, it's easy to collect the data. Okay, on this video on 2025, not that long ago, only 3 weeks, A Chinook flew by, and the skies were blue, and I decided just to record it. And following this format, I have a tremendous success, 80, 90%. So I'm going to turn this on. I labeled this twin, so that means you're going to see two dragons fly by. This is at 12%. You can always tell also by you see the speed of the rotor blades. I think actually the speed of the rotor blades, this is like 3%. This is super slow motion. We should see another dragon fly by. And they also, by the way, there it is. They also have the ability to mess with your autofocus. So if you're recording this and all of a sudden your autofocus malfunctions, your camera is not broken. It's the technology on these dragons. They can do that, and it's not that hard. We can do that with our fighter jets. That's not that hard, but they do it all obviously also.
What was the frame rate that you were filming the video at?
60 frames, 60, at 4K resolution, Panasonic X1000.
You were saying that we could film these with our mobile phones. Do you know what frame rates like an iPhone will film at?
Most new phones record at 4K 60 frames. They even have them now that do 120, and they even have some that do a burst, and a burst is literally 1,000 frames a second. Those are fun, but you don't necessarily get a clearer picture. I can tell you now, in order for a clearer picture, we really need 8K, 12K technology. But the 4K 60 frames will get the job done. At the end of the day, you'll go home with video. Yes.
You're saying that we can all do this whenever a plane flies over, right?
Correct.
So to me, that means that these UFOs are constantly flying around these aircraft if we can film them anywhere.
That's correct. That is essentially correct. Yes.
Why do you think these things are just flying around our aircraft?
Okay, great question. Okay, based again on 14,000 hours of research, these small UAP fast movers, they have two functions. Their primary function is to escort larger UFOs. I have video that proves that, and I'll show you that too. Now, the point is, once they go from there to here, once these dragons are on this planet, they recon the planet. They want to know everything about planet Earth, or for that matter, any planet, wherever they're traveling. So their secondary function is to recon planets, but their primary is to escort larger UFOs via portals, wormholes, and I have that video. I actually have a very impossible video to show you. And we can skip to that now if you want.
Sure.
Here, the wormhole's about to open. Here it is. It's right there. It's not the reflection of the pilot's helmet. It's out. Here's the drag. There's the ship. Ship, there it is. Flies toward the ground. Those little dots are the dragon. Now, I did show this to a couple of experts. I was very disappointed with the answers. This one expert said, Robert, that's got to be an engine falling off of a 747. I said, okay. I didn't talk to that expert anymore. Okay, the dragon's all the way on the left. It comes off the ground.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
It goes vertical. It's very fast, and there's a tiny click that's like a pencil. A sound of a pencil.
Unfortunately, I'm not hearing it. Maybe the audio is just not transferring through the screen share. But do you have these on your website?
Yes, I do.
Anybody out there who wants to hear the click, just go to Robert's website and you can watch these videos and hear it for yourself.
This was recorded by Ben in Oklahoma City 6 months ago, basically the summer of 24. He's right next to Will Rogers International Airport. He's gotten really good at recording these dragons, but for some reason, and I have the video, every picture I have it from a video. So, and this is all posted on the custodian file, but basically saucer came relatively close to his camera. We were able to enlarge it. I interpolated it but this is one of the best, one of the best. Let me try to enlarge it a little bit more. This was directly over Will Rogers International Airport. And I didn't know this, so I expect a lot of people don't know this, but that's where the headquarters of the FAA training school is. So if you go to FAA school to be a control tower, that's the airport they send you to learn. And this thing is flying over the FAA HQ. This was being chased by two F-18s in Covina, California. And this thing, for whatever reason, fell out of the sky. It flew up to the telephone pole. And you can kind of see it's moving. It's moving very quickly, but nevertheless, you see some of the plasma jets. It came from, to the best of my knowledge, from left to right. It's traveling from left to right. Again, that's a really big deal, the Covina incident. It's a really big deal. It's very sensitive. You see it on the bottom?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, you didn't hear that again. Also, you're not hearing the volume, right?
Right. No, I saw it, but I didn't hear it.
Okay. Oh, boy. That's very frustrating.
Well, again, they can go to your website and take a look at it. Earlier, you mentioned that you can also film an infrared with your iPhone.
All iPhones record IR because the camera is so sophisticated. The spectrum is not limited to visual human spectrum. They see IR and they see a little bit of UV, but all iPhones do see IR. You don't really have to go out and buy a special camera. Just record these things in the daytime. You'll go home with more than enough UFO video, more than enough.
Do you have to put it on some setting to record it in IR, or just put it on your regular video setting?
Just regular video settings. Absolutely. Regular video. And I have those, and those are my X-ray files, by the way, where the camera sees IR, because when these things fly behind objects, because of the high voltage, they give off gamma rays, and then the gamma ray penetrates the object, and then you see the silhouette of the object, just like a hospital X-ray. And I call those the X-ray files, and I posted those. The iPhone is a very sophisticated little device, extremely. It took a long time to get, it took 120 years to get here. It's amazing, but it works very well. And so it does all the hard work now.
At this point, where are you going with your research? Like, do you have an end game or a goal?
My goal is just human awareness. I don't really don't expect anything from it. If something happens, fine, but it's really human awareness, it's consciousness. I just want people, this is going on. If you want the knowledge, fine. If you don't, delete it. But it's handy to know. And you will see these things. They will accidentally, serendipitously, they do pop up on videos. And you will see them. You watch air shows, and when you see that little dot, you'll know that's a little UFO dragon. And it will come up more and more. And they're all over the world.
I'm assuming they're nothing to really be concerned about because they're not causing problems, right?
That's correct. I have not seen one problem yet. That is correct.
So nobody needs to lose sleep over this.
That's correct. I could tell you in 2018, I do have a video of a Black Hawk coming into Marina Del Rey. Evidently, it did shoot at a dragon and knocked it out of the sky. The dragon did not shoot back. And the dragon was rescued by a second dragon in the same timeline, and they took off. But it did not shoot back.
Wow. Well, after watching this video, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that?
100%. YouTube custodian file, or if you want to send an email, custodianfile@gmail. Custodianfile@gmail. I encourage people to record their own dragons, share the videos, share them with me. I'll put it on my channel, or even share them with you.
And what's your web address again?
It's a custodianfile.com, but I use my YouTube. I'm not a big computer guy or platform thing. I just use the custodian file on YouTube.
All right. So it's best to just go to your YouTube channel and check out all the videos.
Yes.
Before we wrap it up, can you leave us with a positive message?
All this information is very positive. It's going to enlighten us here. We're going to learn how these things operate, which is going to force us to learn new mathematics and learn new physics and electricity. And it's that new knowledge of electricity that's really going to empower humanity. It's going to give us the ability to get the work done that we're not doing already. In other words, uh, more efficient electricity, higher voltage will give us better x-rays at hospitals. We want that because we can diagnose problems much earlier, much earlier. We can make more sophisticated telescopes. Uh, it's endless. When you have the ability to cargo high electrons, that's real power. And that's real technology. That's technology from the future. You can do, of course, evil with it, but we'll focus on the good stuff.
Robert, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.